Taiwan definitely has its own accent as far as Chinese goes. And that's heavily influenced by the largest, dialect that's in Taiwan, and it's called Taiwanese. And so in mainland China, they have a lot of, darker sounds like sh or zhe. And in Taiwan, it's like lighter, like si or zi. And so sometimes actually in Taiwan, some things end up sounding a lot the same. If I was in China, like Beijing area, they have what they call Beijing qiang, which is just the Beijing accent. And if I were to say the letter 10, it would be shi, and the letter 4 would be si. But in Taiwan, that shi sound kind of is like lighter, and it ends up almost sounding like the letter 4. So in Taiwan, 4 would be si, and 10 would be shi. And it sounds a lot closer. So sometimes that's difficult, but it was, after talking to people for a month, it was something that I was able to distinguish. In China as well, they I know oftentimes they'll add like an R to the end of their words. Trying to think of an example. I've only been to China once, and I didn't know the language when I went, so thinking of their accent, I have to think of like my Chinese professors and stuff. But for instance, that's fun. In Taiwan, you'd say hao wan, just good fun, hao wan. But in Beijing, you might hear someone say hao war. Yeah, I almost feel like people that speak with a Beijing accent have like an apple in their mouth or something that they're trying to, like, 事情是这样的. And in Taiwan, it'd be like 事情就是这样的. Just kind of, so that's my best, try at the different accents. They'll pronounce even like characters differently. So, and even like tones will sometimes be different. So, in China, the word role, like the role of a missionary, would be 角色. And in Taiwan, that same exact character is just pronounced differently, and it's 角色. And so, if you're in Taiwan though, it's universal pretty much for the whole island, the way the language is spoken, as far as I could tell. So in the MTC, the emphasis is largely on like learning to speak and hear, and minimal emphasis is on reading and writing, because it is difficult to read and write in Chinese, because it's character based. They have the phonetic romanized pinyin, but if you write in pinyin, someone in Taiwan would unlikely not know what you're writing about, because there's actual meaning in the characters. A lot of the characters will have the same sound and tone, and so writing in pinyin indicates the sound and the tone, but they might not be able to know the meaning of the word because it's two different characters. And so characters, so the most fundamental unit of the languages is the character, and their characters are often used in similar words. I'm trying to think of an example. So hui can be like an association, like a 社会 is society. It's like an association, a group of people. It can also mean a meeting, because associations have meetings. So 会议, that word 会 is like meeting or association. The church is called 教会, which means teach, meeting. So 教 means to teach, 会 means meeting, and so those two characters together comprise the meaning of the word. And so something that really helped me learn the language was after I'd become kind of proficient in conversation, was then to really delve in and like learn the meaning of the characters, because once I started to figure out what the individual parts of words meant, I was able to hear a lot better what people were saying because I was able to infer from like the parts of the words that they used. So that was helpful for me. Learning the characters after I had a foundation of vocabulary and grammar, the characters really bridged that gap for me, the language and being able to communicate. Oftentimes too, you can, if you know two different characters, you can guess at a word, which is kind of fun to experiment with. If you know, I'm trying to think of a good example. So che means car, gong means public, so gong che means a bus. And so once you start learning like the individual meanings of characters, sometimes you can guess or infer what people are saying. And so characters really bridge the gap for me in being able to communicate.